And we're live in three, two, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Planetmullins podcast. This is the finale for season 2. I've been at this for quite a while, my 38th show. And today, wrapping it up, I've got an amazing crew of friends of mine from Venice Beach, California. Right below me on my screen is the fantastic Stanley Behrens from War on Harmonica. Say hi, Stan.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good, man. Across from Stan, there's Vinnie Caggiano, eclectic guitarist and local king. Hi, Vinnie.
Hi, Rob, and hi, everybody. Thanks for coming down to this big, amazing show we're going to have.
And up top, we have a guy I like to call the Collinator. And this guy can draw a crowd of girls just by putting on a pair of sunglasses. He's a local Venice icon and a recording engineer, a good friend. Say hello to Colin Rothwell, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing, Rob?
Good, man. So it's good to see all you guys. I'm going to start first with Stan because you've got something really exciting coming up here this weekend because your band War is going to play in Venice Beach. Tell us about that.
Okay, on October 30th at 3 p.m., we're gonna. That's when the showtime starts.
Okay.
It's what's happening is Warner Brothers and Rhino Records have gotten together and they're releasing a 50th anniversary of War, and there's a box set of I think it's 5 vinyl records.
Wow, you guys are old.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we've been around.
That's great, man. Wow. And it's going to be, where exactly will it be at?
Well, they're doing this big promotion right here on the Venice Boardwalk at the end of Wynwood Avenue. That's where the bandstand is going to be.
Okay.
And there's other things going on. The festivities supposedly starts at 12.
And the 30th, just for people who don't know about keeping track of time, the 30th is this coming Saturday. At 3 p.m.
Awesome, man.
That is awesome. You know, they have Venice Boulevard blocked all the way from Lincoln East. And now with all the traffic coming into here, because War can draw 100,000 people, easy.
We get a pretty good crowd.
You get a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, I've been watching. Fill the house.
I've been watching your stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and you guys are really crushing it, man. Congratulations on all of that. You're back, baby.
Well, for the most part, we'll see what goes with these mandates. Some of us might have a problem with some of the mandates.
Oh yeah, the mandates. Well, anytime I think about mandates, I think about Vinnie. Because Vinnie is kind of a resident guy that's got some interesting ideas, often controversial, about things that happen in the world. And if you don't believe that, just go watch his first episode on Planetmullins podcast, where I'm super jealous of him because he can have a cigarette in his house.
I can have a cigarette?
No, you can have a cigarette in your house. I'm not allowed to do that. I'm jealous of you.
No, I'm not allowed to do that, man.
Oh, okay. Vinnie, what have you been up to, man? It's good to see you.
Doing good, hanging in there. Just had a show with my awesome band, The Blue Kind, last Saturday over at the Mint. I didn't advertise it this time because we came on at midnight.
Wow.
And I don't have a lot of friends that are insomniacs, so I didn't think I could get. I couldn't believe it, though. I mean, we thought nobody was going to be in the club, and it was packed.
Nice.
Nobody was wearing masks. It was awesome. It was just a regular bar, a bunch of people having a great time. So it was really cool.
Man, that's a really good band, and you guys have made an album or two by now, too, right?
We're working on our second record. We've been writing the material. In fact, the performance was kind of a test run for what we'll be recording. So.
Okay. Well, you know, I've always kind of thought that's a musician's inside thing. And anytime I do a gig, I always tell people, hey, this is actually a rehearsal for our next thing, whatever it is that we're doing. But the guy that's kind of kept our little band, Elegant Strangers, set up and rocking and rolling for the past few years at Sidewalk Cafe is right above you, and that's Mr. Colin Rothwell. Hey, Colin.
Hey guys. Thank you. Yeah. It was a good run we had over there. I really do miss those days. They were very, very good times before the whole COVID thing shut it down. But hopefully again soon we'll be back over there and rocking again, maybe sooner rather than later.
Well, that's
things
cool.
are getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, no, everything's good, man.
Well, they
sure do miss those times though.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a crushing thing for me before we were doing Sidewalk that Danny's went away, because that was where I met Vinnie, and Stan actually got me on that gig, and I'll never forget coming in the first time to that thing, and I was so grumpy because I just had to pay like $40 to park. And then I had to carry gear, and I was doing an audition, so I knew I was going to get paid $0. And I was already out $40 before I got there. Then Vinny looked at my rig, which just kind of looks like something that you would find in a dumpster at Toys R Us. You know, he looked at my rig and he's like, "What the heck is this?" And Stan said, "No, man, let him set up and give him a chance."
Yeah, the way Stan put it to me is like, "Don't worry about it, Vinny. He's one of us." And I'm thinking, okay, he's just as insane as we are. Great.
Well, you know, I've come to be really, really fond of the music that we did and the album that we made. Anybody that wants to find out about the record we made, it's called Only in Venice, a documentary album. The website is onlyinvenice.com. And I was featuring, you know, these guys in particular on things that I think they're really great at. So, you know, Stan is a multi-instrumentalist. If you don't know about Stan stuff, he can sing, he plays the saxophone. He also is a very world-famous harmonica player, and he knows the history of the blues, man. You can see Willie Dixon behind him on that
That's Bo Diddley.
I mean, Bo Diddley. See, I already messed up my blues references.
Yep. Well, you know, Bo and Willie Dixon, they were good friends. Bo was not going to sign that photo, and took, you know, because he tried to take it from me. Actually, he said, "This is mine." I said, "Well, no, it's mine. All I want you to do is sign it." You know, Bo said, "No, I ain't gonna." And Willie turns around and goes, "Hey, Bo, sign it." And then Bo Diddley, he put his signature on there. It's really great. He wrote his address and phone number behind it. He says, "Send it to me." Well, I never did send it to him, and he don't need it anymore.
Man, that's hilarious. Well, Vinny, you know, it's been, I think of all the guitar players that I've worked with recently, I've really come to admire your amazing kind of tones and your concept of music theory and your musical viewpoints. Recently, I've done some gigs with some other guitar players, and about 2 songs in, I just found myself just really missing you a lot.
Yeah, well, there's no shortage of bad guitar players out there, especially in Venice. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I think that should be the headline on this podcast. No shortage of bad guitar players out there. So
This is true.
yeah. So Colin, more about what's happening in the local scene. Like, you go down to the place in Nano's is kind of one of the spots that's rolling pretty hard now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Hananos they've been doing pretty good lately. Honestly, that's like one of the only good spots around the beach to find good live music. And they've been having a lot of good bands in there lately. I know my buddy Kenny's band, Good Cop Bad Cop's been playing in there a lot. And
Yeah.
I have some friends. They're a blues band that plays there on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
Some really good blues guys. Every time I walk by there and they're playing, they say, "Hey, Stan, come on, bring your harmonica in here."
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Brobots plays over there too, right?
Yeah, the Robots, they are phenomenal. They play there at least I would say 3 or 4 times a month. They've
Wow.
been in there, but they travel a lot, man. The last time they were in there, I remember they were saying, "Hey, we're going to San Francisco tomorrow for a gig." And I was kind of like, "Wow, like those
And
guys really get
that's
around."
Dave Rollicky's outfit, right? Is
Um,
that Rollicky's thing with he's on sax with another sax and then like that?
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no. He not anymore. I think maybe he was with them, but not anymore. I haven't seen Rollicky in a while. I don't
okay.
know
Yeah,
where he's playing
neither
around.
neither have I. He's doing
Actually,
something.
now I got a report from Matt a couple of weeks ago. Rollicky's vaccinated, and he went and played at this really crowded club and got COVID.
Oh,
So
wow.
No,
yeah, no shit. So
Oh my. Well,
that's too bad.
that sounds typical to me.
safe and
That's
effective,
too
man.
bad.
Wow,
That's
man.
too
Well,
bad.
that's a shame. I mean, I was doing some gigs with Hubert Laws in May, and that was a requirement not by Hubert and not really that much by the airline, but the venue said that none
Yeah.
of us could enter the venue unless we were vaccinated. And so I went and took the Pfizer shot. And coming home from that Dallas gig was really bad because you have to put your phone on a QR machine in the airport, and then it gives you about a 30 question questionnaire to fill out before you're allowed to fly back to LA. Have you found that, Stan?
No, not really, not yet.
Oh my God, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, everything has gotten so digital and so crazy. And that's one of the things I miss about our band is that we just, over the years, we kind of evolved into this organic thing that was just wacky and real fun, and we go any direction.
Yeah, Rob, let's talk about the band. We were a band together. You,
Yeah,
me,
we
Stan. Colin was our kind of manager, and he got things together for us and helped us a whole bunch.
Lot.
So let's talk about the evolution of the band. I know that you and Stan were a duo called Cosmic Coast,
Right.
which I hadn't known about. And in the meantime, I was busking on Westminster, and of course, Stan would come by. Okay, Stan, come play harmonica. And then I asked Colin. I said, Colin, any chance? Like me and Stan a really good duet. Can you get us a gig?
Well,
And
I wanted to. That's the whole thing. I wanted to get you in somewhere, and I was advocating to get you to play somewhere. And then Danny's, of course, was the
Right.
spot.
then we got
And so
Danny's.
so fortunately, we had Ravi, the wonderful manager at the time, great Ravi, and he was able to, say, "Yeah, bring him in. Let's see how it does."
Yeah,
And
and
and it did.
Yeah. Well, I'm super grateful that we got a bunch of that stuff recorded, and Vinny, hearing you play in any kind of format is always great, and same thing with you, Stan. And I'm getting these alert messages saying that Zoom is going to cut off the meeting, which I guess is because we had a little bit of a rocky start. So I love it. So Vinny, you were talking about the evolution of our band, the Elegant Strangers, but we actually went by quite a few different names before we came up with that one, right?
yeah, well, it was a kind of an ongoing joke that every time we were billed at Danny's, I would give the band a different name, which is awful for marketing, but it just seemed really funny to me to do. So.
Yeah, I remember we had that discussion. I was like, how will they ever know that it's us?
Yeah.
And but some of the photos of those little promos that you made, like the Jazz Janitors one, is hilarious.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
photoshopped our images on like a bunch of janitors, and I did it. Had one called the 1890s. The name was the 1890s, and we're dressed up like 1890s musicians, and playing, holding tubas, and yeah, a lot of fun.
I love the one that kind of looks like we're the Three Musketeers with the swords and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just, part of the quirky personality stuff about you that everybody loves in Venice, and why you have such a a big following and stuff. So it's cool because when we first started playing, we didn't really have any charts to go by, and I was just watching the guitar neck, and Stan was in the middle of the thing just saying, let's just get through a set or two. And by the time we had gotten through about a set and a half, it already started to sound like a band.
Yeah. We clicked in pretty quick.
Yeah. The amazing thing about the Elegant Strangers was, like, first of all, when me and Stan played, it was always spur of the moment. I'd say, Stan, do you know this tune? He'd go, yeah, I'll see if I can work it out. And, we'd play it. And
I would lie most of the time.
Right. It was just.
Do you know this song? I'd say, yeah, but it was a lie.
And then I remember the night you came down, Rob, Stan came up to me or got in touch with me in the afternoon and said, oh, by the way, I invited my friend Rob to play with us. I'm like, dude, you just invited some guy to play with us? What are you doing?
Yeah, because it's your gig.
Right? And Stan goes, don't worry, he's one of us. Don't worry. And then when you came up and played, Rob, for me, it was like, okay, this is working. This is so much fun. You just were right in the vibe, and I love
just
that you
goes to show you got to trust me.
Yeah.
Well, it was something that I was doing a lot earlier with Cosmic Coast. Is I set up that wacky rig where I have a keyboard bass on the left side and then a snare and cymbal on the right. And Stan would come over to my place, and that's how we worked up the Cosmic Coast set list. That's how we worked up Chloe's material. When Chloe was in town, we would play over at the Wits End. And interestingly enough, it wasn't a thing where we needed a lot of heavy bass drum in the Elegant Strangers. Bass drums are a pain in the ass to carry around, and I understand why they're so important to so many bands. But with us, it just never felt like it was missing,
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't really needed.
Just for the sake of the viewers' understanding, Rob came down with one hand, he had a keyboard in hand, and the other, he had a snare drum. And I'm looking at this guy going, what the hell is this about? And Rob winds up playing bass on one hand, which kind of sufficed for the bass drum, really,
right,
and snare with the other. And it was just outrageously cool. So,
yeah.
Well, then over time, the Danny's thing ended up just kind of being like a regular house gig for us. And for a while, we had Matty D jumping in on sax, and then we'd have Rollicky would come in on sax and trombone sometimes, and then
Damon came in, jammed with us.
Yeah, Damon came in and sang, and it was just really neat because Danny's was the kind of place that was just, to me, it was exemplary of the spirit of Venice, because it had a kind of an open door policy. There were people who could just float right in off the little square there by the flag. They could skate in and check it out. There was this one girl that used to come in the early days, and she just looked like she was kind of a bored, scared kid in a way, and she would sit right across from me, because I was always on stage left, I guess it is. And, the restrooms are back there, and she'd get in that last booth there, and she would just stare at Stan for hours. And I think she might have only been 18 or 19 or something, but she never looked happy. So about the second time she came in and did this, I just walked over to her, kind of just cold call one time, and I just said, hey, look, you always seem like you're really doing badly or something. Are you okay? And she said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just listening to the band. So it wasn't but about 2 years after that she moved to Nashville and became a star. And her name is Christina Vane.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And, she was like a teen skate kid that would just skate in there, and she never drank anything. She never ordered anything. She just came in and stared at Stan for a few hours. and checked out our band, and went on later to just be super confident. I mean, she sings great, she writes great, she plays banjo and dobro and 12-string and 6-string and all that stuff. And I see her on Facebook all the time, and she was just one of the first people I remember meeting. I think.
Yeah. She came a long way. She really improved a lot. Her singing and her instrumentation, guitar playing, banjo. She's doing it. She's really into that authentic Appalachian music.
Yeah, the serious acoustic thing. But Danny's was that kind of a place because people could just come in and be relaxed and hang out. And now, from what I hear after kind of looking at it and talking to Colin, the thing that is Danny's now is kind of like a closed off ventilation box where there's like none of that outside kind of energy that was coming in, because I would feed off of that outside energy. I'd be up there, and with those doors open, especially like on 4th of July, I could look outside and I could see 500 people all dancing and skating in time to our band.
Yeah. No, it's terrible what they did to that place now, and you have to be fully vaccinated to get in. You got to show your freaking ID, and you got to show your vaccination card just to get in the damn door, and you got to have a reservation unless there's a spot open at the bar.
Wow.
And it's just it's just ridiculous. It's terrible. It's a disgrace what they did to that place.
What pisses me off the most about it is that they come in, they make this high-end, trendy, super cool place. It's totally uncomfortable, and they advertise Wednesday night, locals night, like, oh gee, thank you for letting the locals in. Like Danny's, you can walk by Danny's any given night and see somebody sitting at the bar. And now it's just like exclusive nonsense.
No, and I went in there for that locals night too, by the way, and the sound in there is terrible.
Oh wow.
They put these huge giant like concert size speakers mounted from the ceiling down, and they're just all tinny and bright, and it sounded like a shoebox in there.
Wow.
It was terrible.
That place has always had terrible acoustics.
Terrible. Yeah.
From day one, that place had terrible acoustics. When it was the St. Mark's.
Yeah. I remember you used to run sound there, Stan, when it was the St. Mark's. I used to play there in those years.
Yeah, well, I played there. I had two night a week gig there. Every Sunday night, I had the R&B band. And then on Wednesday nights, I was doing a gig with Red Callender, Earl Palmer, and Art Hillary. We were doing like a jazz thing on Wednesday nights. And Sunday night became a huge night there. Because, I mean, everybody, what I did in the very beginning, I said to the guy, don't charge any admission. I said, I'm going to fill the place up with really beautiful girls on a Sunday night with a great band and see what happens from there. And within like 2 or 3 weeks, there was a line of people around the block wanting to get in on Sunday night. Until he started saying, well, let's charge him $10 a head to get in. There went the line. That got rid of the line of people, They don't get it, that you take the money out of people's pocket before they even get inside to spend the money. It doesn't make any sense. Let them in and let them spend that money that's in their pocket at the bar or buy dinner, drinks for their friends.
Right.
A business can't survive unless you have customers.
Yeah.
And when you're cutting the customers off before they even walk in the door, you're not going to survive.
I just never understood the whole concept with venues in general, where entertainment is literally the very last thing that they think of, if at all. Like, it seems that, especially with a place that's a high-end place, like I used to work at this place in Brentwood that was a steakhouse, and they would make, on a Friday night, they would pull in 30 grand. They had a nice piano in there. The stage was about 4 feet square, teeny. Like the upright bass players, if they were taking a solo with a bass bow, they would literally be hitting my right shoulder. That's how close we were. But a Coke in there was $12,
That's
Damn.
ridiculous.
and parking was $8. And they had a very, bougie kind of crowd in there. A lot of celebrities went into that place and stuff too. But it's like the entertainment is always secondary. Like the list of rules that came with playing a gig at that place was insane. I've played at places where there's one place in Orange County where it says in your contract that if you play Brick House by the Commodores, you're fired.
I played at another place that did not allow Mustang Sally.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah, that was you'd get fired if you played Mustang Sally.
Vinny.
Hey, I have an idea, Rob. Why don't we go around the round table,
Okay.
and between Danny's and the Sidewalk Cafe, let's talk about our favorite moments. Each of us must have had a favorite moment at one of these places.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to start because it comes right to mind. There's a couple of them from the Sidewalk, and it was the night that it was probably close to our closing time. Everybody was really blasted, and we were playing Heard It Through the Grapevine, and Tree Man comes walking in.
Oh yeah, that was classic.
Now, for
totally
people who
remember
don't
that.
know who Tree Man is, Colin, tell people who that is.
He's just a classic character that dresses up on stilts and dresses up like a giant tree and goes walking around the boardwalk. And I don't know what he really does, what else he really does, but that's about it. Just walking up and down the boardwalk all
But
day.
he's like 13 feet high or
Entertaining.
something, though. He doesn't fit
Yeah.
inside the club. You see him coming in, and you're like, I remember looking over at Vinny and just because I'd never seen that before, I was like, holy hell.
Yeah, true.
He
That's
was
so
going in there
Venice.
like use the bathroom or something. I don't know how he was able to even do that, but
Okay, well, that's one from me. Vinny, how about you?
All right, the first one that comes to mind always, I don't know why this is, but it must have been our second show, and we never, ever, ever rehearsed. So it was always like, hey, Rob, you know this one? Yeah, what key? That sort of thing. So anyway, it might have been one of the Donovan songs, Mellow Yellow or something, but we tried to just go into the song. And, meanwhile, there's an audience, right? And I said, wait, the intro was wrong. I stopped the band dead in its tracks and said, no, the intro should go like this. Let's try it again. And we tried it again and we flubbed it. And I mean, this is right in front of an audience. I just love that. That's so Venice. It's like, yeah, whatever. And finally we got the intro right, went into the song. It was a great moment.
Yeah, well, the song list was amazing, and we'll come back to that. Stan, what's a great moment for you at Danny's or Sidewalk?
I do have memories of Sonia.
That's exactly what I was
Put
thinking.
here. Yep.
I mean, and she was also, there's very much about Sonia on the Only in Venice record,
Yeah.
the song called Tequila Dancer. That night, where you came up with Tequila Dancer, that was exactly what she was doing. It was totally amazing. I don't know how she could fly through the air and actually still stay on her feet, being as drunk as she was. But she was an amazing girl. I'm really sad that she didn't survive. But I'll never forget the night you came over with the record, and she was here, and she never heard the song before. And so then when we played it, she goes, "Is that about me?"
Well,
Yeah,
when we were at Sidewalk that night, it was always kind of like it would be a shot over the bow. There would be like a warning would come in from somewhere. It'd be like Colin's like, Sonia's outside by the bike racks. Look out. Or Joanne is crawling with one shoe towards the restroom, be aware, these kinds of things. And Sonia came in that night, and she was pretty amped up.
Oh yeah.
She started all the way over by the, not that far from the first bus area there. And there was a guy who was dancing with another girl and right in front of Vinnie. The guy was probably about 30 or so, very buff guy, and he was standing there. And Sonia, out of the clear blue sky, just starts running at full
and
speed
jumps
at
on the guy.
And then she leaps up into the air and lands right on him.
Right on that guy.
And that was right in front of Vinnie, man. I was like, whoa. That kind of stuff is crazy, man.
Yeah.
And then we had the hula hoop girls.
Emma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Emma. Yeah.
Emma, do all those tricky hula hoop stuff right in front of the band while we were playing.
Emma and Justine was in there for a while early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the electric hula hoops with the digital lighting that was programmable. It was awesome. And Emma did this unbelievable thing where she was able to bend over and do the hula hoop around her ass from behind. It was the most remarkable thing I'd ever seen.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's something you learn in West Hollywood and then you take it to other areas. But yeah, Emma, and of course, we had just all of those. What do they call the art walk? Is that what it's called?
Art crawl.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Art crawl.
So,
Yeah.
for people that don't know much about Venice, there's a lot of just kind of wacky historic things that happen. Like they have a King and Queen of Venice contest, and they have this thing called the art crawl, and then they've got parades all over the place where people dress up wacky and bike rides and stuff. So I come into the sidewalk one night, and they would have to set up our stage area because it didn't stay up all week. They just would unpack it and set it up there. But I come in this one night, and it's already set up, and there's a girl on it, and somebody's pointing a light at her. She's hardly wearing anything at all, and I think that she's a mannequin. I was looking at her, I thought, wow, this girl is, but she's very lifelike. And then there was this table set across where you guys and I would sit and have our dinner breaks. A group of people sitting there all sketching this girl on our stage. And it was an art crawl thing. And the art crawl people would come through to see like a little art exhibit. And in our case, it was a live, almost naked girl.
Huh.
Just set up right where the guitar amp goes.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I don't actually, but I'm sure it happened.
I'm trying to remember it.
Well,
I remember it. I do remember that. That was, yeah.
Yeah,
I might not have been there because I probably would remember that.
You might not have been there. There were some gigs that it was just me and Rob.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you, Rob, and Matt.
Or me, Rob, and Matt. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, well, it was always
Sure, I
kind
was
of
there,
fun.
but
It was always kind of fun we would do this more at the sidewalk than we did at Danny's. But a lot of times towards the end of the gig at sidewalk, when it would get kind of slow and stuff, Vinny and I would just venture off into like psychedelic jam band land. And because there was really none of this kind of, restrictive vibe going on in those years, which was like, 2014 to 19 or so, Vinny and I would crank it loud. I mean, we would be up to 10 and we would just be doing like a 10-minute long jam on the end of a Hendrix tune or Lucy in the Sky.
Oh man, that was awesome. What was the Doors tune we did? That was the takeoff point.
Riders on the Storm.
No.
No, Break On
it
Through.
wasn't that one.
It was Break On
Is it
Through.
Light My Fire? No.
Break On Through.
No, Break On Through.
Oh, Break On
And
Through.
we
yeah.
go from Break On Through into
Reggae.
Oh yeah, well we did the James Bond theme, right?
Right.
We did Wipeout,
Right?
Yeah.
I kept thinking, what's an E? What's an E? And I would just throw it out there.
Oh man, I remember nights over there too where we would have like a old school musician kind of crisis because I don't know if you guys see a lot of the younger musicians that are coming out, but a lot of them from Berkeley and stuff are all like vegan guys that drink a certain kind of tea and they work out and smoke really bothers them and they'll only drink a craft beer, but that's every 8 weeks. We're kind of the old school guys, and I remember nights where I'd just be like, Colin, do you have a cigarette? And he'd be like, no, man, I'm out. Are you out? I'd be like, yeah. Okay, here's $20, man. Make the run.
Yeah.
Colin would go down the street, and then sometimes he'd be back in 5 minutes, and sometimes he'd be back in an hour.
One of my favorites was the Danny's closing party, which was an all-day marathon. We started at
That's
4.
what I was gonna say. Yeah. Yeah.
You got a story
you
from
go
that
ahead.
one?
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, that was the best time ever, though. I mean,
My
go ahead.
favorite is Rob was getting a little bit, maybe he had a snoot full too many. I don't remember, but at one point, Rob gets on. He goes, Vinny, let me grab the mic. I want to make an announcement. And this is somewhere around 11 o'clock at night. And Rob goes, listen, people, Danny's is closing tonight.
Permanently.
Light up cigarettes, smoke some weed, enjoy yourselves. And sure enough, people started lighting up cigarettes and smoking weed. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I remember telling people that said, what are they going to do? Shut the club down forever?
Yeah, right.
Shut down forever in a half hour.
Unfortunately, I missed that one.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Stan, I know that you don't drink because it would void the warranty on your liver.
Right.
But, I mean, Ravi, who was the manager in those days, he kept coming out of the basement because they didn't want to let any of that liquor go to waste. So he was bringing up like cases of tequila and setting full bottles of tequila on the stage. Just passing out rum, and he had kegs going and all of this stuff. And it was one of the most fun nights I've ever had as far as being, a Venetian. It was everything about Venice that I really liked.
I'm kind of bummed that I missed it. I mean, I was out of town with the war band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, here's another funny sidewalk one that was from the last time that we were there. And Stan, I hope you don't mind me telling this one, but
I'll let you know if I mind or not.
Okay. But our gig there was always on a Thursday night. So I show up on Thursday night and, I would pull my car in and Colin would come out and start carrying my stuff in and they put the stage up and one of the waitresses came over to me and said, oh yeah, are you guys like coming in to play? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, is Stan going to be here? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, he was here by himself last night, but there was no gig. He was here on the wrong night.
I came on a total wrong day of the week. I do remember that.
But one of the things that's been so great is just the open-mindedness and the coolness of everybody in this area. And I think, that's kind of gotten lost in some ways with all of the gentrification and the stuff that's going on with the unhoused people here and the virus. You put all of that together, and I don't know about you guys, but it's been kind of hard for me to stay mentally level through all this crap.
It's been hard on everyone, Rob. It's been hard on everyone.
Yeah, I'm going to probably run into some problems because I do not have a vaccination passport. And places that are requiring it, I might not be able to get in.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if how much it's going to affect my job, but I'm not getting vaccinated because I I don't do well with vaccinations. I mean, it was on a kind of vaccinations that I ended up needing a new liver. So
Wow.
I don't do well with vaccinations. I've been refusing them for the past 30 years or so. Every time the flu shot comes out, they want to give me a flu shot, and I say no, I don't want a flu shot.
Yeah.
It seems like it's everybody's between a rock and a hard place, and in my case, I just had to go ahead and do it because doing the Hubert Laws gig. Hubert is 82 this year.
Yeah.
And any chance I get to still play with Hubert, I'm going to do whatever I can. I mean, we did in May, I think it was in May or April or May, we did a big appearance on the Carnegie Hall network for celebrating the life of Chick Corea.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
We did that at Hubert's house, and I don't think he was vaccinated at that time.
Oh, wow.
But when we would go out on tour and start doing those, I would much rather get vaccinated and be sick for a day or two, or and still be able to gig than to not be able to. But it really should be something, somehow there needs to be some rules that will kind of apply. Then
see, I have what they call natural immunity. I was sick with that flu early on, and I built up a natural immunity to it. By all accounts, ever since the pandemic actually started, I never wore a mask. I never washed my hands. I never did any of the protocols. When they locked down, I went out. When they closed the beach, I was on it. I hung around crowds of people. I hugged my friends.
Yeah.
I shook hands with filthy homeless people. I'm not a germophobic person. And I'm 75 years old. They say I'm going to die from it. I beg to differ. I'm not going to die from it. I am one strong individual that's passed death several times.
Right.
They can't make me get vaccinated because I don't do well with a vaccination. And if I lose my job, well, that's what's going to happen. I don't know.
Right. What do you think about this, Vinnie?
Well, to me, there's so much that's obvious about all of this. If you do any little bit of research, even, you'll find out that Pfizer, puts a lot of money into mainstream news, which we can't call news anymore. They're propaganda outlets. So we see all these advertisements for Pfizer. It's really clear and obvious that this is a big sales pitch for them to make vaccines that people will take every 6 months and pay for them. To me, the whole thing is a major scam, and it's an obvious one. And not only that, but people in general are not, first of all, people that get vaccine injured, and trust me, there are thousands and thousands of these people, and they get suppressed. If they tell their story on YouTube, they get suppressed. This is crazy stuff.
Yeah, the censorship is very prevalent now.
Yeah, it's that's something that I've found has been like one of my pet peeves recently, and the other one that really gets to me is the lengthening of processes. And what I mean by that is, let's say so I had this thing today where I needed to post just one post, not on the Rob Mullins piano page, but on the Rob Mullins music page, just to put up this review about me and Jimmy. Now, it used to be, I'd load that page and there'd be a little box there and say, what's on your mind? And I go, blam, the review, post, done. You know what it is now?
I have no idea.
You can't find that thing of how to post at all. What starts it says, there's missing information here. You haven't done X, you haven't done Y, you haven't done D for Z for 6 months. Now, have you visited the business center? There are 22 areas in the business center. And you've got reactions from these 30 people. You didn't bother to read their messages. And I'm just like tearing my hair out because I have 4 minutes before I got to teach a class. I can't even get the post made.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so the lengthening of processes, it's like, you know, just as few as steps as you can have to anything, then the quicker you can go on to something else. It's like, you know, contracts are 30 pages instead of 1. And, you know, tax returns are 200 pages instead of 4. And I could go on and on and on.
I know, you know.
About that stuff. I mean, that's what I don't like about the modern world, because I get an alert every day when I get up from Google and it says, your birthday's missing. Your birthday's missing. And it's my greeting every morning. It's not like, how you doing?
Oh, wow.
Myself, why on earth does Google have to confirm my birthday every day for me to be allowed to use my email? Right, Colin?
So you know what? I predicted back in the 90s, I predicted a lot of what's happening right now. I remember in the early 2000s, I made a post on Facebook saying, once the corporations and the government get a hold of the internet, it's going to be no fun. They're going to ruin it. And sure enough, they did. I remember the wilds of the internet back in the 90s. It was like just a party. It was, you know, and it was ugly as sin too. The GIFs and everything that they posted was really ugly.
It was so fun
But
in
it
the
was
early
fun.
days. Yeah, it was all.
Yeah.
It was all really fun in the early days, and then as you know make more and more restrictions on things, you start taking the fun out of it, and that brings me to the other point. Did you guys notice that people just kind of don't have a sense of humor anymore? Like, you can't joke with them about anything, and they're going to get so uptight about the smallest little thing, and then crucify you on Nextdoor or Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody gets so offended. Everybody, the least little thing will offend somebody. You know what I tell them? Fuck them.
You know, that reminds me of a New Yorker cartoon I recently posted. It's a news report, and it says, well, it's been confirmed. Everything is offensive.
That's it. That's just about it. And everybody's racist, no matter what.
Yeah, the world is.
No matter what you do, they tag the word racist on it.
It's just kind of a sad thing that, you know, the internet, which could have just been this really massive positive force, is just kind of not most of the time. I mean, there's one website that's kind of a community thing that I won't mention their name, but last week it was the end of the night and I was partying pretty hard, and they send emails constantly to you about this person posted this person posted that, this person posted the other thing. But all it really is cat news, like news about people's cats and people being broken into. And so I went onto the website and I tried to quit my membership on the website. They won't allow me to quit.
No.
Wow.
Can't cancel. I can't get off it. And finally, the last thing that I said there, hopefully for good, was I really don't have anything in common with anybody here because I don't have cats. I don't need a vet. I don't need a nanny. And I'm, you know, I probably said something like, and I'm smart enough to not have a shiny new car and keep my car dirty in Venice. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, I think we could wrap it up here. Colin, anything left to say on your behalf, sir?
I don't, yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great seeing you, brother, and I hope to see you out on the boardwalk soon.
Yeah, let me know when you're around.
Okay. Stan, thanks, and good luck with your concert coming up this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got 2 shows. We're doing the Alameda County Fair on Friday night.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I'll get to see my daughter. She's coming.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I haven't seen Chloe in months.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And Vinny, last night I was noodling around on my keyboard on that scale that you can play that one scale and cover all the giant steps.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get together and we'll talk about
We'll
that.
talk about it. Sounds great, man.
All right,
And
everybody.
Just
Okay,
a quick plug. Just a quick plug here, Rob. Everybody, if you live in Venice, come visit me on Westminster near the boardwalk. Friday, Saturday, Sunday between 2 and 4, and I'll be busking over there. Except for Saturday, I'm taking the day off so I could go watch War play.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right, we'll see you guys there. Take care, all.
All right, take care.
See you, Rob.
right.
See you, Vin. See you, Colin.